Okay, I'm recording this at the request of Ray from Hardwood Depot. This is the Wickham Flooring that we had a lot of problems with the different widths, up to like a full 1/8 of an inch in some boards. And it's not, there's differences sometimes between boards, but even even within the same board from one end to the other, there could be quite a difference in the width. It's been stored, it's humidity and temperature controlled in here, and it came right from Ray's store to this place. It's sat acclimated for probably close to 6 weeks. The boxes were not opened. There was a bit of a miscommunication, I should say. My installer said that he usually opens the boxes, the ends of the boxes, but he didn't in this case. And I'll show you after with some of the other empty boxes that the ends are not open. So these are unopened packs here. This is what we have left. There's still this section of a room left to do. So this is, I have 6 unopened boxes. So I'm going to open them and check out some of the pieces, measure them with my calipers. And not every piece was off, but like maybe most of them, at least half of them I would say, there's some variation. It almost seemed like maybe they were, well, there's definitely some milling errors, because you could see some of the ends weren't 90, but it also seemed like maybe they weren't properly dried or something. Okay, so open this box. So we'll look here. Yeah, right away in this. Not a huge difference in this one, but I'll measure it between these two. There's a little difference, and it's not too much, but I'll do a few of these. I'll do it here. Let's see. So that's 4.309, and then this one is 4.275. I'll just recalibrate that. Yeah, 4.274, 4.275. Right, just in those first 2 ones. Check here. Sometimes end to end there's more of a difference. That looks pretty consistent end to end. Alright, let's look at some more ones, because that's not even bad. That's only like a 16th out. Let's check this. Yeah, that one's out of it too. This is what I'm saying, it's like most of them were out. And it took my installer more than twice as long, because he was trying to sort them by width. He was trying to sort them by width so he could do one row with wider and another row with narrower, but we were still getting gaps. And then because he noticed, and we were measuring them, that even in the same board, you'd be, from one end of that same board to the other would be different. So these also have some variation in them. So like, for example, measure this one here. Right, I'm taking it right from the top, the part that would be shown. If I go, so that's 4. See it there. 4.289 inches. Okay. This is 4.291. That's the end of this. I measure the end of this, which will be the corresponding end if we put them together. Oops. 4.279. That's not a that's not a huge difference, but still, it's still a difference. Like, I don't know, Ray sent you some pictures. I'm gonna try and find this example here. That one's not too bad. Yeah, there's a decent difference there. So, for example, measure this guy. 4.285. Stick this guy here. 4.297. And when you can see it, so you can see a real gap. Let's just check the width from one end of the board to the other. Yeah, so the width of this board here, at this end, 4.3, 4.299, 4.3. So again, not an enormous difference, but still a difference. Let's look at some more. And if you have a rep or somebody in this area, they are welcome to come and inspect this stuff in person. There'll likely be a couple of boxes that won't be open. I ordered a little, I like to keep a couple extra boxes, so when that room is finished, I'd say there'll be at least 2, maybe 3 boxes unopened. You can moisture test them, you can do whatever. I know they're going to show you. What we've been seeing. That's not bad. Those ones are pretty good to each other. Yeah. So that's, don't get mixed up with what I've already checked and what I haven't already. Yeah, there's a bit of a difference there, not crazy, but a bit. Yeah, this one's pretty, so this is a good example of a board that starts and ends at different widths. So I'll turn this on here. So at this end, right in the trough there. This end, it'll be upside down, but it's 4.245. Oops, sorry. Let me just put it at the end. Yeah, 4.243. Okay. And this end, $4.259. Or sorry, ugh. 4.255 at this end. 4.24 this end. So, a tenth of an inch, which is not nothing. especially when you've got, you know, stuff stacks up. A little difference there. That's pretty decent. There, not too bad though. This is actually one of the better boxes. Those first couple did have some difference in them, but it's not too bad there. 'Here's one with a decent difference in it. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know how close you are. It's just a cell phone, but I'll just measure it. But on this one, 4.31. 4.31 on this. And on this guy, .27. 4.264 actually. 263, 264, whatever. I'm gonna take it off, it keeps changing. This is 4.258. Let's just see here. Yeah, see, this end is 4.307, 4.308. .274 this end, right? See, it might be the best way to show you actually just individual boards. I think this board has decent bit of variation in it. 4.27, 4.269. 4.315. So this is a fairly big gap here. Yeah. So this is one of the ones that would create an unusable gap. So I'll measure these, try and get a good. Maybe I'll come closer to the camera. So, sorry, I don't really know where the camera's looking, so. So good purchase there, 4.227, 4.227, okay. I'm gonna check this. 4.27. Okay, so now if we can, I'm going to try to, I'll just check the other end of this board too. That's 4.28. And that's, so yeah, look at that. 4.23. 4.28. Okay? See that gap there? 4.23. 4.28. So it's a good example. If I show you, if I line up the butts, you can see there's almost an 1/16 for sure, but maybe an 1/8 of an inch in the difference. Okay? When you go to this side, it's still there, not quite as bad, because this short board has some variation from one end to the other, but then so does this other board. Has some variation. Right? If I match up those sides, it's not as bad as if I match up the other sides. So that's a pretty. It's not the worst ones we've seen. We've seen ones that are worse, but that's an example of when you lay that down. You put another board next to it. There's a gap you can fit a dime in. Let's look at some more. There, not too bad though. That was pretty good. That's not bad. Let's see this guy here. Not perfect, it's not bad. Falls off on this one. So this would be an example, just a short board, but different from one side to the other. So 4.275. 4.269. Not a huge difference in that one, but something. Let's see this guy here. 4.285. 4.305. Right, so some difference from 4.285 to 4.305 from one end to the other end of the same board. It doesn't take much for something to be 4.294 for something to be visible. So there's a big one, 4.281. Not big, but noticeable. So 4.296, 4.28. Let's see. 4.3. Oops. 4.3. Oops. 4.27. 4.275. If you want it checked. 4.27. So this is actually a decent box. You know, some of the boxes of these other ones were way worse, but this did have a few examples, 5 or 6 that were out by, you know, a 1/16 of an inch or so anyway. Yeah, 4.31. So 4.27 on that one. Yeah. So that's an example of how, you know, the variation. And I'll just show you. I'll move the camera around now. Show you the other boxes. Some of the boxes have since been recycled, but there was a stack. In the other room, there was a stack of empty boxes there. So I'll just show you so you can see these boxes. The ends were not opened. Right. This one is crushed, but you can see all the. Oops. All right.